Okay, next guy. Again, the idea here, you do the same thing you would do kind of normally. I just did air quotes, but you can't see me do air quotes, but that's okay. Like I said before in the videos, I'm lecturing to an empty room, so I'm doing the same things I would if there were people here, and I just did some air quotes. But working normally would mean that the first thing I'm going to do there is distribute that minus sign and distribute that 2. So we're going to come up with 8 minus 4i minus 9 plus 6i plus 7i minus 5. And now we combine our like terms. 8 minus 9 minus 5 will give me negative 6. Negative 4i plus 6i plus 7i will give me 9i. And that one's done. Again, working normally, I would start by distributing. And so we're going to get 15i minus 18i squared. But anytime you have an I squared, it's absolutely vital that we recall that I squared is negative 1. And so this becomes 15i minus 18 times negative 1, which is 15i plus 18. And in my happy world, you could stop there, but to make the computer accept it as right, since it said standard form, you will have to say that that's 18 plus 15i. Okay, next one. Again, starting normally, we would FOIL. So first, outside, inside, last. Foiling that, I'm going to get 16 plus 20i minus 20i minus 25i squared. The middle terms are opposites, so they're going to cancel. I replace that I squared on the end with negative 1. And so I have 16 plus 25 for 41. And that guy's done. And notice in this one, the I terms happen to cancel. That was not a coincidence that whenever I multiply conjugates, complex conjugates, the phrase complex conjugates means complex numbers, things with an I, and then same terms, different signs, conjugate. Whenever I multiply complex conjugates, you will always just end up with a real number result. And more in general, when you multiply conjugates, same terms, different signs, a plus b, a minus b, they're conjugates, you will always get first term squared minus second term squared, always. If you FOIL that out and cancel like terms and all that sort of stuff, you will always get a squared minus b squared, or first term squared minus second term squared. That always happens in conjugates. Okay. Moving on, doing some more multiplication here. Okay, we are going to remember that this means this. And I FOIL it. One of the most common mistakes is students forgetting to FOIL, that they square each term individually, and that's just totally wrong. So let's FOIL that guy out. And so we'll have 9 minus 12i minus 12i plus 4i squared, which is going to be 9 minus 24i. I got like terms in the middle. So combining these guys. Then I replace that I squared with negative 1. So 4 times negative 1, which is giving me 9 minus 24i minus 4 for 5 minus 24i. Okay, more. First thing I want to do, anytime you are confronted with the square root of a negative, simplify that square root first. So we aren't going to start foiling this right away. We're going to simplify that square root first. The negative is going to give me an I, and then the square root of 25 is 5. So I simplify it first. Anytime you have a square root of a negative, simplify that square root first using an I. And in this case, the 25, square root of 25 simplified to 5. And then the square means 4 plus 5i times 4 plus 5i. And again, we're going to FOIL that out. And so I'm going to get 16 plus 20i plus 20i plus 25i squared. Got some like terms here. And so we get 16 plus 40i plus 25 times negative 1. Again, we're going to recall that I squared is negative 1. And that's just something that you just memorize. You memorize that. And so 16 plus 40i minus 25 for negative 9 plus 40i. Okay, not that any of this has been particularly hard, but your calculator will work with complex numbers. To make your calculator work with complex numbers, and again, this is a TI-83, 84. If you have a Casio or Sharp, I'm sure it probably does it too, but I don't know how to use Casios or Sharps. To make your calculator work with complex numbers, press your mode button. On that menu, arrow down to where it shows A plus BI and press enter. Now you can go back to the home screen by pressing second and quit and do the calculations you need to do. To get I on the calculator, press second and the decimal point. So that all being said, perform the indicated operations, use a calculator to perform the indicated operation, express the result in standard form. Okay, so let's get our calculator set up. There, you can see it. Okay, we have to tell the calculator that we want to use complex numbers. So you press your mode button. And notice down here at the bottom, we've got A plus BI right there. You can see it. So I'm going to arrow down and over and hit enter. And now it's ready to do complex numbers. Then I want to go back to the home screen, so second and quit. And now I can type in exactly what I see there. So parentheses, 4 minus the square root of negative 9. Now I have an older calculator, so I have to in the parentheses for the square root. Then in the parentheses for the problem, squared. And then I hit enter. And almost instantaneously, we get 7 minus 24i. And so that one worked really well. We're going to see how it doesn't work so well in the next one. But if you got some of the simpler problems, like the very first problem we did, this guy right here, and we did that problem, let's put them together so we can see them doing that problem right there. We can type it in just the same way we see it, plus, or parentheses, 6 minus 5, and then the I is down here on the decimal point. You can just barely see it down there. So second and decimal point gives me the I. Then plus parentheses 4 minus 9. And then second and decimal point gives me the I. So I can type it in exactly the way I see it. Hit enter. And I should get the same answer I got before, 10 minus 14i, 10 minus 14i. So your calculator will do a lot of these. But notice I didn't say your calculator would do all of them. So working on this last problem here. So let's clear that out. So parentheses, 5 minus the square root of negative 3. I have an older calculator, so I have to end the parenthesis for the square root. If you have a newer calculator, you need to exit the square root, then parentheses 2 minus second square root. Oh, that's wrong. Yeah, that was right. Square root of negative 2. In the parentheses for the square root, newer calculator, exit the square root, parentheses. So I've typed it in there pretty much the way I see it, and I hit enter. And oh my God, that's not what I wanted to see. You're not seeing the whole answer. If I arrow over, notice as I arrow over, eventually I see the whole answer. There's the I at the end. And so then this was the beginning of the answer. So the answer starts out 7.55051057 minus 10. Go over, minus 10.53516943I. That is not the answer we want. Never give me decimals unless I give you decimals. So here, the calculator did not give me an answer I wanted. Calculator gave an unacceptable answer. It wasn't wrong, it's just it wasn't an exact answer. Don't give me decimals unless I give you decimals. So instead, we're going to do it by hand. That's my only choice here. So first, simplifying with the I. I just like to put my i's in front of my radicals because the I is not inside the radical, so I like to put it in front so it really looks like it's not inside the radical. Times 2 minus I square root of 2 and FOIL. 5 times 2, 10. 5 times I, negative I square root of 2. Well, all I can do is negative 5I square root of 2. Inside, all I can do say there is that's negative 2I square root of 3. And on the end, that's going to be plus I squared square root of 6. And so I've got 10 minus 5I square root of 2 minus 2I square root of 3 plus negative 1 times square root of 6. And so trying to get the answer that will make the computer happy. And now I would not do something like this to you on a test or quiz, or we're not probably going to have quizzes, but maybe some other year we'll have quizzes. It's this COVID year, we're not going to have quizzes probably. To make the A plus BI form, get A plus BI or A minus BI. So I'm going to move the stuff without i's to the front. And I'll move the stuff with i's to the end. And then to totally make it the way the computer wants, I'm going to take it in 2 steps. Notice these are both minus here. So I'm going to factor out a minus, which changes the signs to plus on the inside. And then standard form has a single I in there, not 2 i's. So to get the standard form that will make the computer happy, I'm going to factor out that I and stick it on the end. And there's the answer that would make the computer happy. And so the point to this one really is you have a calculator will do things, but it won't always do things perfectly. And so here we had to do it the long way to get this perfect, pretty answer that it wanted. And that is the end of this section and the end of this video.